Hey guys, Doug Walker here. Guess what I just saw? The Angry Video Game Nerd movie. They were kind enough to get me tickets to go see it here in Chicago at the premiere. I introduced it a little bit. They allowed me to do that too. Very cool of them. And the movie started, and I'm here to tell you what my thoughts are. It's pretty obvious I'm not going to dislike it, because that would be pretty douchey. Not because, like, if I didn't like it, I didn't like it, but I wouldn't go do a vlog on it. I would either lie or find a way to talk about it where I didn't have to really talk about my real thoughts. But no, this was, this is an important movie, really, kind of we're talking about, because it's a film. It was done through Kickstarter, and in my opinion, this is kind of the ultimate fan movie. We see all these fan films, but here is a film that's financed by fans, made by a fan, made for the fans, and it's not just one subject. It would be so easy for this film to just be video game nerd jokes. Nothing else, and nothing but callbacks to his other jokes, or him just swearing, but with big explosions going on or something. But no, this is a very cleverly well done movie, and when I was given the script before they even started shooting, because we did auditions in Chicago for it. And I read the script and I looked through it and I love the story, but I was saying to myself, how the hell is he gonna do this? Like, I saw the budget that he got for it. I'm like, even with that budget, I don't know how this is gonna work. I don't know how any of this is gonna fly. And so it sounds weird, but leading up to this movie, I was really concerned. I was like really, really concerned, because it's like, I hope this is good, because so many people thrown money into it, and James is so talented, but I'm thinking about the script, and I was just like, man, I hope this pays off, and it really, really does. And I bring that up because anytime somebody says, oh, why'd that actor do this movie, or why this director picked that script or something like that, couldn't they tell it was a bad script? When you get someone that really knows what they're doing and has this very clear vision, they can take pretty much the exact same words and turn into something really clever, and you gotta just let them experiment. You gotta let them play with it. And some people can't. Some people can't turn, nothing into something, or something into nothing, whatever. But James really did. And he did something that, it helps if you know the nerd, but you don't have to. It's pretty much just a celebration of everything very traditionally geeky. It's kind of the celebration of sci-fi. It's a celebration of monster movies, a celebration of comic books, celebration of zombie films. There's even a joke at Ninja Turtles 3 in this. But even if you didn't know what Ninja Turtles 3 was, you would still laugh at the joke, because the effects in this are very, how do I put it? They're very cleverly corny. But you hear that and you think, oh, what? Gave all that money, it didn't even go into making the effects? No, what's so clever is that it's this perfect gel, it's this perfect mix of live action and CG, but in all the right places. And it's impressive where it needs to look impressive, and it's cheesy where it needs to look cheesy. Because it's a monster film. And with all these things he's trying to hit, with all these sort of very classic genres, of monster films and superhero films and sci-fi films, they all have these kind of distinct styles, and he's combining them all into one, and it surprisingly really, really gels. And it's funny, and it's clever, and the use of the effects, there's a lot of practical effects that watching it are fake. It's an illusion, but at the same time, when you see this giant monster running through Vegas and he's hitting this casino, he's putting his arm through a casino, it's a model, and it's a guy in a suit. But you also know it's there. It's really fucking there. And it really wasn't until I saw this film that I realized how much we really do rely way too goddamn much on CGI. Because CGI we know is not there. it looks good. It almost looks like it's there. Like if you took a still picture, maybe it could fool you. That's kind of a big maybe. But we've had it gloss over everything. And so now we're looking at nothing. We're looking at these very nice looking cartoons. And it's not that I'm against animation. You know, I love animation, but it's two filters now. It's where with models, it's one filter. Because it's really there, it's just not to scale. It's not the actual size. It's not the actual place. It's not the casino being destroyed. But when, okay, Godzilla, like, and don't get me wrong, the final fight in the new Godzilla movie was cool. But when he's revving up his tail and blowing the fire and the thing, I know none of that's there. It looks cool, but nothing's there. And it's all a computer. And when people are running away from it, you know, I know they're just running away from a computer. With this, when something hits a building, you know it's really hitting it, so that when these 5 pieces fly out, they're going to fly out in a way that's not calculated, that's not painted over, that was really there, and it's going to have an impact that's different than a person typing it in. So it's so strange because we'll watch these effects and be like, well, it's obviously a guy in a suit, but at least it's really a guy in a suit. At least it's really a guy who's there, and so when the impact happens, you feel the impact because the impact is really there. And I really didn't know how, I don't want to say spoiled because we're not spoiled by computer graphics. I mean, in animation like Pixar, DreamWorks, you know, we are, you know, and they're doing great. But in the use of films, I watch Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I've watched 4 things that are not there, run around, and I just shrug and say, they're not there. Why am I watching this? They're clearly not there. But for this, even though I know they're not, it's not a real monster, it's not a real building, I know they actually built these things, and I felt that hit. And there's so many scenes like that where these little models will fall, and they look incredibly fake, but you really feel them falling. There's this gut reaction in you that feels the impact. So it was very, very clever to do that, and it really made me realize the effort and kind of what we were missing with, like, just even the old classic monster movies or just a lot of effects. There's got to be a middle ground. There's got to be another Lord of the Rings in there somewhere. Because, yeah, we're missing something. Okay, so I really went off in the effects there. But again, a lot of them are sort of meant to look fake. Like, my favorite is there's this reuse shot of, like, you know, whenever the monster destroys something, he'll get, like, 3 or 4 people, like, in front of a green screen doing this. And it's clearly meant to look fake, but here's why it works. There's this, and why I didn't know it was going to work, but it really paid off, is there's this kinetic energy throughout the whole thing that the only thing I can think of, I'm sure there's other examples, but the first thing that comes to my mind is probably the Lego movie, where the Lego movie is also fake. They're Legos, you know, and I think they're mostly CG, but, you know, you also kind of enjoy, like when they build something, you don't see them actually take apart every single thing, put it over here. They'll build it like a stop motion Lego video. It's kind of like that. It's welcoming the, you know, sort of the comedy and the cheesiness of it, but it's also not, it's not cheating. There's no cheating in this movie. Everything is done as much practically as possible that would get a laugh. And then something else, like somebody's telling a story about the origin of this monster, that's going to be shown in these sort of CG puppets going on, that even then they kind of look like drawings, but you kind of know, okay, that would make sense for this. And there's a scene where somebody has like an epiphany and you see him wake up and realize something and it shoots through the universe. That has to be CG. It's funnier if it's done through CG in that way. So I think that's what I think that's why I respect with the effects, is that it knew it wasn't just some live action, some computer generated, whatever. It kind of knew what was going to get the biggest laugh with what effect. And again, a lot of it came from the kinetic energy and good editing in this too. again, there's a lot of lines where if they just sort of read the way they read, it get an okay laugh, whatever, but it was really good at cutting away to another person's reaction and expression to counteract it, to take a line that was maybe okay, but then when you have the expression on top of it, it'll be really funny. And with that said, good casting in this too. These are actors that are obviously allowed to improvise a little bit. And I think they took a lot of scenes that were probably okay and made them even better, and it just made them much more alive. And the whole film, when James came back to the from this to shoot the cameo for To Boldly Flee, he was just like shaking. He was just like, yeah, okay, so I did that, and it's, I get it. I mean, it's like, I've never done anything quite that big, but it's like, even for the stuff I've done, it's pretty intense, so I can't imagine the stuff he went through. And to still keep that energy going throughout the whole thing, even though it's probably driving you bonkers. I mean, this is why I say every film, even the bad ones, are something of a little miracle, really. Because they're just so difficult to put together. And to put together and keep good. Because there's so many people that want to keep putting their thumbprints on there. And in this one, it really all just came down to James. It came down to him trying to keep this and trying to get his vision alive and what he wanted to see and keep it funny and take out things, put in things, whatever, just what he thought worked. And it really works. And you just kind of feel like you saw some guys, just his really fun fan film that he worked really hard on, and you say that was really good, and it's really enjoyable. It's not something where it's like, oh, well, I like it because he's a friend or whatever. It's actually really enjoyable, and he very cleverly worked in what limitations he would have, because even though he had an unbelievable budget for this, there's still limitations. Watch his vlogs and all the stuff about the making of. I mean, you'll clearly see it. Even people with these massive budgets, I mean, they're all going to have limitations at some point, but he was so good at working them in. And once in a while, there's something like maybe it's not quite focused or something like that, but I mean, they're very, very minor. And it just, I don't know, through the editing, through the performers, and through just a good story, it's a good idea. It was always a really, really good story and a good idea. And I think just all of that coming together in just this really fun spirit, the spirit of let's just put on a movie, have fun. This is just a really fun, silly, big movie. It feels big. I can't see anyone leaving this thing like, really? That's what we were waiting for. I think so many people are going to walk in and get the movie they wanted to see. It's funny, it has practical effects, it has CG effects, it has all sorts of different kinds of comedy. It's not all gross out acting. It's, there's a lot of puns, there's a lot of social commentary. Actually, there's great commentary on just what he does and like his fan base and what it means to be a part of this fan base, but it never takes it too seriously. It never quite goes into like he is the savior or anything like that. It's very much this very clever kind of satire, and it just works out really well. And I think it's because it just has this very upbeat energy, and it knows very much what it wants to include in there, what it wants to satirize, and it just throws everything at you, and it's just fun. It's a great, fun, big movie. And I don't know, it's kind of silly talking about because I know that whoever has tickets already has them. They're like all sold out. And whoever wants the DVD is going to buy the DVD. But yeah, just my thoughts initially. I think it's a good movie we're talking about because, like I said, I do kind of see it as the ultimate fan film. It feels complete for what it was supposed to be. And yeah, I think anyone who's going to go see this film, you're going to have a great time. Even if you don't know who the nerd is, he does a pretty good job introducing you to it. And watching it, in some respects, it's going to be low budget. In other respects, it's going to be very big budget. And it balances it out in such a funny way. And it's a very well done film. It really is, and it pays off for all the people that are like, oh, when's it coming? It's a good payoff, and I think you guys are really gonna have a lot of fun with it. So that's about it, and hopefully if you don't have tickets, go get them, and if not, go buy the DVD. You definitely won't regret it. So that's about it, and I'll talk to you later. Take care.